She's already got a smile on her face. Wow. What what is happening? What is this? Is this the Blair the Blair Krick project? Like what is going on?
Well, I'm in New York right now. And so I'm in this hotel that I'm in the little like library area where there was food. And my hotel that I'm actually staying at is a couple of blocks down the street, but I just finished eating. And so there's like this little back area that I can charge my phone and it's not going to interrupt anyone. But I realized I'm like right up against the lamp. And I was like, looks really, I mean, you guys make fun of me from my living room and how dark the background is. I mean, it's a whole new level.
It's
swanky.
It's literally just your face. That's now we can see your hands. So
no, it's also I got a black sweater on. So
it's just all darkness. Is it
gonna work? Is it gonna work?
No, it's perfect. I mean, this just adds to the fun of talking to you.
I feel like we're at one of Trysta's speed dating tables that she's had to stop at as on sort of, going around the room. Like we've got like 2 minutes and then she's got to move to the next table.
If only I was that lucky to be on a speed date at this moment. My only date is with Zara. I'm looking for some wool trousers after this.
Excellent. So I assume WFAN. That's why you're.
No, I had a dentist appointment today.
Oh, the old New York dentist.
Yep. So I had to get some new Invisalign put in, and then I don't know if you guys can tell, but I got some little new eyelashes.
All right.
And so then, my dentist appointment's only on Friday morning, so I had to come up Thursday and then leave Saturday. So I'm gonna go and see some friends. I actually am getting dinner with Jake Fisher tonight.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get some tea on this Kyrie Irving news.
No, well, we'll get to Kyrie here in just a heartbeat, and I'm sure you'll share the tea with us when you get the opportunity. But you were as fired up as all of us were last night to see De'Aaron Fox miss out on the All-Star game, and you're connected around the league, so it's up to you, TK.
I was a little worried that I might be complicit or an accessory to a crime if a riot actually took place, because I said we riot at dawn, and then I think a Kings player also said let's riot.
Yeah, I was like, that too.
And I was like, let's not really riot, because if my tweet's the first one, then it's a January 6th situation. I'm not trying to get into all that.
Oh boy. Well,
clearly you're in New York, so you can write at the NBA offices. We understand what's happening here.
I'm going to glue myself like that girl at the Minnesota Timberwolves playing game. I'm just going to
stick it to the window.
NBA reporter has glued herself to Adam Silver's door.
In a De'Aaron Fox jersey.
There it is.
I speculated that coaches were trying to make some grand point by selecting a bunch of defensive guys like Paul George and Jaren Jackson and Drew Holiday, and at the expense of a guy like De'Aaron Fox.
Are you guys the type of people who think about the All-Star game as an accolade and an accomplishment, or are you guys of the mind that the All-Star game is primarily an event for fans and to entertain fans?
Both.
I think it's the first, because I think players, I mean, their contracts are based off of All-Star, like whether they make the Hall of Fame. You have to accumulate some of these accolades. And to me, like the players, they do think a lot of it. Like I've talked to Sabonis about the potential for Fox to be there and what it would mean. And he was just like, he wanted him to be there to get the experience of it, like how amazing it is. And Fox had been there for like rookie sophomore game stuff, but to be part of the big game is just different, and it has a different feel and vibe, and you're thought of differently as a player when you have that All-Star. It's not like Major League Baseball All-Star where every team gets an All-Star, and then, or the NFL where didn't the Ravens quarterback who threw 4 touchdowns make the Pro Bowl?
Snoop Huntley, Snoop Huntley.
Yeah, he made the Pro Bowl, and so did Derek Carr. who had that great line yesterday. But yeah, I kind of look at it that way. Like in the NBA, it's a huge accomplishment that if you don't stack those accomplishments, you don't have an opportunity to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think I'm of that mindset too. But when I think about it like a fan event as well, I say to myself, and I tweeted this, like, does anyone really want to watch whatever Jaren Jackson's jump shot is out there? Like, do we want to see his defense? Do we want, when you talk about like getting defensive guys, why do we want defensive guys in the All-Star game? Like, we really don't. I want to see De'Aaron Fox use his impressive dribbling skills to successfully fake out his opponent. Like, that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? I want to see him in the mid-range. I want to see his floater. I want to see his speed and athleticism. I could really care less about Jaren Jackson Jr., and I am a fan of the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to revisit that. But I think it goes to the first thing you said, though. Like, is it an accolade, or is it a showcase for the fans? I think coaches may have looked at it as an accolade, and of course there's components of both, as James mentioned, because there's incentives in contracts, so that's important. But the accolade part of it, that's it's like, all right, we've got shooters, and Kyrie doesn't play a lick of defense, and he's starting, so we're going to put Drew Holiday in, and we're going to take control of our league again, and we're going to make all-stars out of defensive players. So we'll put this guy who's played 30-something games into it and averages 15 points per game rather than De'Aaron Fox, or, I mean, hell, even
How many games do you think that the solution is also to put, you have to play a certain minimum amount of games in order to be eligible?
Well, that's the case with postseason awards, or not, maybe not postseason awards, like
MVPs,
like points. Like, you have to play a certain amount of games. And I think James has said earlier, Jaren Jackson leads the league in blocks, but he's not actually eligible to lead the league in blocks.
No.
Yeah, he's not. He hasn't played enough games. I was even telling Damian too, Trysta, that I was talking about this with my son, and my son said, "Hey, well, do you know about the whole block thing with Jaren Jackson?" And I'm like, "No, what do you mean?" He goes, "Oh, look at his block numbers at home versus on the road. He has 77 blocks in 18 games at home and 37 blocks in 17 games at home. I mean, on the road. So they're like, around the league, it's known that their scorekeepers are giving him blocks for things that aren't blocks, and they're padding his stats. And it comes down to, like, what exactly are we doing here? Like, it should be the best of the best. And if you're going to reward Jaren Jackson for being on the Western Conference #2 overall team, then forget that. Aaron Gordon's a better player. He should have made it on a better team as the Denver Nuggets. So I get you don't want two representatives from the same team getting rewarded. But if you're going to do it with one, then, like, again, Jaren Jackson just didn't make any, not on anyone's board as far as, what was he, number 12 in forwards in the Western Conference when it came to aggregate score. That just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and I think the thing that also is frustrating is just how they formulate the teams, because you know, somebody said this in my mentions, and I think this is true in terms of, like, Jaren Jackson obviously playing a different position than Fox, and so you've already got your guard slots already set, and so there's an additional slot that Jaren Jackson for a forward, you know, position that he could get in. So they said, oh, well, would you, if you had to choose, then would you take out Ja or SGA or Dame if you were going to put in Fox? And I'm like, well, I challenge this premise completely, because maybe there's just more guards that are all-stars this year that are playing at an all-star caliber.
Well, I would add this too. Like, it's very possible that they loaded up on forwards because they know that Zion isn't going to play. And so when they replace Zion with somebody else, it doesn't have to be a forward.
Right.
Because they've already loaded up on so many forwards, and it would leave the possibility to add a player like Fox in the next round.
They better use him as the replacement. Otherwise, like, we are riding. We will. We're not gonna take it. No.
Little twisted sister on us.
Someone, which is just a massive curveball from Trysta. Someone said you look like the Death Row magazine vibe cover, and I can't unsee it now.
That is that's a tremendous compliment.
I just can't unsee it.
I have that on my wall in my house that I grew up in.
Oh, that's iconic. It is. Yeah. James has it.
Can someone make this on Photoshop? Can they add me in and can you put it on Twitter? Can we just see what it would look like?
They put LeBron's head on Willem Dafoe the other day for me from the Platoon poster. So yes, they can, Trysta.
I guarantee they're already working on it. It'll be in your mentions by the time the call's over. So you're in New York. How about the gift that keeps on giving? You mentioned it earlier. Kyrie wants out of Brooklyn, and from what we read from Adrian Wojnarowski a few minutes ago is that teams are calling asking about Kevin Durant. Like, hey, how far are you going to take this thing over the course of the next week?
Yeah, and if I'm Brooklyn, what is your real incentive to do what he wants? What is it? I don't think you have any, you know? You know he wants to stay there. You know he wants to be there. The entire reason for the trade request is salary and him getting a contract extension that he is not being offered, and them wanting to see what they have in the postseason with him before they do any of that, right? Because he's a gigantic headache when he's not one of the best players on the court, which he's been awesome this year. He's been really, really good when he's not suspended. And so that's one component. And so if you say, well, I'm sorry, we're just not going to trade you by the deadline, you're just going to have to figure it out. And if you need to get paid whatever is your max through the bird rights, then you're going to have to work with us with the sign and trade. And that's just what it is. You need us, we need you, etc. So why feel rushed to do that when teams are only going to take advantage of you, given the desperation in him being on and expiring?
Yeah, this is one of the few players that I can remember where he's going to be worth a certain amount as a player and he's worth a totally different amount as a human being. I mean, does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't think that he's making $36 million this year, which again, he should be a $40-something million player, but he's not. And I have this feeling that he's not going to get that big contract that you would expect, unless it's from Brooklyn, who, has a ton of money and a huge market. But, I mean, even if you go to the Lakers, you're not getting the money. Well, I guess you could if they're able to complete a trade, because then they would have his Larry Bird rights. But just as an asset going around, you're not going to be able to get dollar for dollar for what he should be worth as a player.
And on top of that, you've got Rui Hachimura there, who's also going to want a deal in the offseason, which is going to take up quite a bit of your cap space. And so at this point, the math ain't mathin' unless you're sending Russell Westbrook to the Brooklyn Nets, which
you're absolutely doing. You're 100% doing.
Yeah, or you're doing a 3-team trade and sending Russ to Chicago or something and trying to figure. I don't know that if Kevin Durant ends up playing with Russell Westbrook again, which I don't think he wants. I mean, what are we doing here, really?
I don't know. I never know what we're doing with involve Kyrie Irving, to be honest with you. LeBron's out here tweeting eye emojis and crowns. I don't know what's happening with your king. We looked at Phoenix having a really intriguing potential offer. I feel like we mentioned another team, James. Miami potentially having something, but it felt like Phoenix worked the best. But there's that, and you noted this a minute ago, there's that weird, why would Phoenix do this unless they knew that Kyrie was staying long term? Because you'd probably have to move Mikal Bridges. You'd have to move someone you value to get Kyrie back. And that's what the weird thing hanging over all of this is you talk about the incentive to do what he wants. No team is going to make a deal. No team like Phoenix, I should say. I feel like the Lakers will do whatever just because they're the Lakers. I don't think Phoenix or Miami makes any sort of deal unless they have assurances that they can have him on their team for at least another couple of years.
Which means then, okay, Kyrie, we're going to offer you a 2-year deal. And if we do this trade, you're going to accept the 2-year deal, which means you're going to have to sign this now, secretly. And then we're going to submit it when it's the time for us to submit it. It's going to have to all be locked up where there's no funny business. Because if I was worried about funny business with any player in the NBA, them changing their minds, them going back on their words, them deciding they need to step away for whatever reason. That would be Kyrie Irving, right? So if you're a team and you're in the risk management business, and listen, Phoenix has had their own fair share of controversies as well, right? You don't want to be having another issue or a potential blowback controversy that you really did not need to have. Like, it would be an unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, it's so avoidable. Like, you just, I mean, could it work out and he makes your team great? Sure. But it could also not work out, and you could be like stuck in a gigantic nightmare of a situation with him, both financially and the PR stuff, which you talked about. There are certain teams that can do it, and then I think Phoenix is one team that you might look at and go, like, you can't, because they're the team that's actually going to have to give up true value. Like, if you look at the Lakers, like, regardless of what my friend Damian here thinks of Russell Westbrook, like, in NBA standards, it's not value. Like, you're not getting value for him. And where, Mikal Bridges, if you're going to get Bridges, or you're going to get Cam Johnson, you're going to get a stack of players. Those are valuable pieces, long-term contracts, young players that can help you today and, kind of further what you're trying to do. Maybe both teams get help in this situation where, again, like, Dallas doesn't have something to offer like that. And even the Lakers, they don't have something to offer like that.
If you're Dallas and you're Brooklyn, do you accept, like, Dorian Finney-Smith and Tim Hardaway and, like, Jaden Hardy or something for Kyrie? And, like, do you do that deal? Does that deal work?
I don't know how the math checks out, but that's probably not, like, it's probably not a horrible option for Brooklyn in the sense of, like, Kyrie's obviously very good, but the reason you're a championship contender or potential championship contender is because of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's one of the best basketball players on earth. And if you can surround him, like, it simply boils down to what complements KD. And if they can determine that those guys do, I'm all for it. I personally would love to see Kyrie and Luka Doncic.
Same.
Let me see that. I want to watch that implode. I will watch every Dallas Mavericks game on League Pass to make sure I am tuned in live when that inevitably goes bad.
Someone tried to get the Kings in the mix. Said, would the Kings be interested in Kyrie Irving? And I was like, what?
I didn't believe that happened.
What? No. What? Are you serious? Is there a team that makes less sense than them?
I believe our friends at the Kings Herald wrote an article, and the article said, well, no. And that was the end of the article.
What are we doing? Like, what are we doing, guys? What is this?
We will step in as a fan base and just say, hard pass, fam. We're good.
Also, what has not been mentioned in all of this, and I hadn't thought about it until just today, is we're in the period of time right now where normally, in normal years past, like 2-3 years ago, pre-pandemic, at this point, all attention and focus is on the Super Bowl, right? And then what you've had is a change, obviously, with the 18-week season, but also the trade deadline moving backwards. Usually the trade deadline happens around All-Star game. I remember when Boogie Cousins was traded in New Orleans right after the All-Star game. So
I love this city.
Yeah, he was traded during.
Oh, yeah, it was during. Yeah, it was during.
I had it confirmed during the actual All-Star game. Like, he's gone.
Insane. That's insane. So now the war between the NFL and the NBA is just fully on, right? NBA encroaching on the All-Star game, and NFL encroaching on the NBA All-Star game, NFL encroaching on the NBA playoffs with the draft, and then the NBA clapping back and saying, that's fine. We'll just have Kyrie Irving request a trade in Pro Bowl week. How about that?
We're going to ruin your Pro Bowl, your crappy Pro Bowl.
And all next week, the week where all of the excitement is supposed to be on Jalen Hurts and this big Patrick Mahomes matchup, and everybody's just talking about NFL, and it's like, no, it's trade deadline week. It's trade deadline week. Is Kevin Durant going to be traded? Because that's what I care about.
It's very funny because next week there's going to be a big storyline depending on who you are. There's going to be a big storyline in the Super Bowl that two brothers are playing against each other, and two brothers are playing against each other. Yeah. And it just kind of depends on what side of that fence you fall on. But this week off, like I honestly haven't thought about Kansas City and Philadelphia one time this week.
That's exactly how the NBA wants it.
It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, all I'm thinking about at this point, well, one, we were trying to get through last night, and we thought we had a bottle of champagne ready to go for our 2 All-Stars, and now it's next Thursday. Though I think the feeling headed into this trade deadline, at least for Sacramento Kings fans, is a little bit different. For NBA fans, it's always fun. Speaking of, can we get back to your Memphis Grizzlies fandom for a minute?
Fandom? I just said I like them.
I feel like you gave us a pretty strong like it was more than just no. I like the Memphis Grizzlies. It felt like the Grizzlies are really hateable. Like they not from a basketball playing perspective, just from like a regular perspective, they kind of suck. And that whole debacle last night with your boy Dylan Brooks was ridiculous.
So what's so hilarious about it is, I want to say Wednesday. So that's what, 2 days ago? 2 days ago, I posted something that showed Trae Young's 3-point percentage, Jordan Poole's 3-point percentage, and Dylan Brooks' 3-point percentage. They're identical. And you want to say, oh, Trae Young takes harder shots than Dylan Brooks, or Jordan Poole does, whatever. The 3-point percentage is exactly the same. Like, I think actually Dylan Brooks has a better 3-point percentage right now than Trae Young, which is just a crazy bananas. And I was just like, narratives are funny this way. And people went insane. Do not put this video out. Nothing pro Dylan Brooks here. It was just anti-Dylan Brooks. The hate was palpable. Crazy hate. And so I put out another video. Listen, I get you don't like Dylan Brooks because he's a chucker. I get that you don't like his Grayson Allen style of play, but this level of energy for Dylan Brooks is strange. This is weird behavior. Tell me why. Take me to your leader. Why do you guys hate Dylan Brooks this much? One day later, we get what we got. And I was like, oh, well, now I see. Now got it, guys.
I feel like the perfect guy to ask might be here. Is Kyle Madsen joins the party, and the death row circle is complete. Why do you hate Dylan Brooks, Kyle Madsen?
If Dylan Brooks never played another basketball game, the NBA would be better for it. He's the worst, bro. No, honestly, okay, so it's obvious. I don't care that you're going to talk mess and not be that good, but for me, it really started with him hurting Gary Payton II last year. And that, yeah, there's the Warriors fandom there, right? And him hurting GP2 and whatnot. But just from a basketball perspective, that was crap. You don't whack somebody across the back of the head while they're in midair and just full blown wind up and swing. And then this is just like a pattern now. And last night wasn't even a basketball thing. That was just him taking a swing at Donovan's. And I don't. I get how other people feel about Draymond now. I understand.
That's where I was going to go. Like, when Draymond is on your team, you love him. When you're a team playing against him, you're just like, man, I don't get it. I can't handle it. Like, he's tough.
In a series against the Grizzlies, which the Kings might get this year, in a series against the Grizzlies, anytime the possession ends with Dylan Brooks shooting it, it's like, yes, A+, good possession. So I'm just not. That's the other problem. At least Draymond, not excusing it, at least Draymond's like a defensive player of the year and a guy who can push a triple-double every night. Dylan Brooks is just like, there's 50 dudes in the league that are like Dylan Brooks. He stinks.
I don't know if I would say there's 50 dudes. Dylan Brooks is a very good defender.
There's
He's
25.
Physical.
There's I don't know. I feel like if you took Dylan Brooks off the Grizzlies would be fine.
Can I give you another reason why the whole Grizzlies thing is out of control? I think I lost Dylan Brooks after the Shannon Sharp thing when he stood at the podium in jeans and like a tank top. And it was like,
yeah, it was like a bodysuit.
Oh, it looked, he looked absurd. That is one. But two, that whole Ja needs to get his crew under control.
He's
Like,
the one though. He's literally the leader of this.
the stuff with his dad, the stuff with his boys getting escorted off of like courtside, like, dude, like, calm down. Like, it's cool. Your dad got like his 15 minutes of fame for looking like Usher. Like, that's great. Bro, the next time he goes head to head with an NFL Hall of Famer, that Hall of Famer is going to pop him in the mouth. And then what are you going to do? Like, that whole circle needs to chill. Like, they're taking their little hard-nosed identity a little too far. Like, relax. You're a professional basketball player. Calm down.
Did you see what Josh said the other day? He got into it with whoever they played 2 games ago. I forget who it was. I mean, it's hard to keep track how many altercations.
They're at war with everyone.
Was it Minnesota?
I believe it might have been Minnesota. I think it was. I think it was maybe like, somebody random that he got into it with. Anyway, so he runs up on him, and apparently they were yelling. Somebody told John Morant's dad to shut up. And I think it was maybe a Timberwolf. And Ja runs up on the guy and he's like, "What'd you say? What'd you say?" So they ask him what he basically was getting into it with. And he's like, "Yeah, I checked his temperature. He didn't have a fever." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" And so then he's like, "Yeah." And then so-and-so comes up. I forget who the other player was. So-and-so comes up, and I told him he needed to back up or it was going to be something. And he said he was cooling. And I'm like, what is going on here? Like, you know what I mean?
You ain't fighting nobody, man.
We got some fake tough guys going on here. See, that's what John needs. Dylan Brooks, because he's gonna say something. He needs Steven Adams there too.
Steven Adams for sure. Steven Adams is like the reason. And then remember, and listen, I love Ja. I think Ja is the most electric player in the NBA night for night on a random Tuesday. I just think he is. He's just like, he's the best show on the court right now. But when you're tweeting stuff like that and you're talking about your hollow tips, and it's just like, why are we doing this right now? Like, okay, like maybe we shouldn't. You know?
The truth is, if Steven Adams was 5 feet away from me at all times, I'd probably pick a fight with everyone in sight too.
Oh, the gas station, the grocery store, you'd run people over in the produce section. I got Steven Adams here. You want to say something?
He'd be like, "What'd you say? What'd you say to me?" Nothing.
That's
what I thought. Nothing.
I have to be so bothered to acknowledge another person in public that bothers me. I would have to, like, you could breathe on me wrong. And if Steven Adams was with me, I'd be ready to throw hands. And I'm not a fighter at all.
Yeah.
I'd get my ass kicked by everybody.
Yeah. But not with Steven Adams there, you wouldn't. No.
No.
Nope.
You guys think that the Grizzlies are the most hated team in the NBA right now?
Absolutely. I don't think there's a close second.
Yeah, probably. My friend calls him Gen Z Lob City, and I think it's really good. I think it's a really good nickname for him. Like, the reason I hesitate is because, like, they're super unlikable, but they've also not done anything, which to me is just like, okay, you're just over there. You're just this small dog that's really loud. Like, cool, man. Like, let the big boys play now.
That's so they're like the Chris Paul. They're the Chris Paul, Blake Griffin Clippers.
But yes. Chris Paul's really good, though.
So is Ja.
Ja's good. They have good players. Like, I'm not.
You don't like Ja? Wait, was that an eye roll?
No, I didn't eye roll. I just turned to my right.
Trysta, he's mad because Ja is the player that Russell Westbrook wanted to be. I don't mean that. I'm joking. I don't mean that.
He looked to the side like, yeah, Ja's not that good.
No, Ja's good, but I thought you were equating like the Memphis Grizzlies to Chris Paul. Like, no, Chris Paul is significantly more.
No. Like that they're the Memphis Grizzlies are the Chris Paul led Clippers.
Oh, yeah. Got you.
Yeah, with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, and they never won a thing, but they were everybody hated them. They were always talking trash. And
everyone thought they would win a bunch of titles. They never won anything. Yeah.
Exactly. It ended up ending disastrously.
Had a rivalry with the Warriors.
Yeah, rivalry with the Warriors. I actually root for the Grizzlies, though. I want them to succeed. Like, they remind me of the Cincinnati Bengals, kind of, you know? Where you're like...
Because I didn't root for them.
Joe Burrow, yeah, where it's like...
Ja Burrow.
Ja Burrow. Joe Morant.
I don't get it. Like, why root for the Bengals? You were just in Buffalo.
No, I mean, like, I get why people like them. You know what I mean? I get why people have this draw for unapologetically arrogance.
Yeah, I did. It wore off real quick, though. I was like, no, I get it. No, that's cool. I like this. I think we even did this last year. Like, no, it's cool. I get it. It wore off quick, though. Like, I'm over it.
There reaches a point when you're going to talk trash at the level that they talk trash. Where like, okay, they're down here. They're the Grizzlies. They're plucky. Oh, and they talk some smack. I like this. This is good. But at some point, you got to win something. And they're 2 playoff trips now, and they're still they're talking as though they're still this plucky underdog. And it's like, no, man, you're going to be the 1 or 2 seed, and you're going to be a favorite to come out of the West. You got to do something at some point. That's what bothers me about them.
Well, and I love the D'Lo and Casey / 93. I forget I'm not good with like call letters of a radio station, but the Memphis station I'm on all the time. I go on
93.9
Tuesday, 93.9, I believe. And they just get so mad how much I ride for the Kings. They just get so mad how much I root for like the broadcast team and lighting the beam. And they're just like, this is very clearly a bridge too far. This is a rift. And I'm like, I like everybody. I don't know. What do you guys want me to say? Our Dubs.
Well, I'll tell you what you
92.9
for
92.9.
us. You could tell them to kiss our ass.
I'll do that. I'll do that on next Tuesday.
Steven Adams is our friend, but you can tell everybody else.
But do you guys like Bane? Do you guys like Desmond Bane?
Yes.
I actually
Desmond Bane can hoop.
I can't wait for Desmond Bane to debut at WrestleMania next year. Like, I absolutely cannot wait for, like, we always talk about who's going to end Roman Reigns' run as the champion. I think it might be Desmond Bane. He's going to come out and spear Roman Reigns and be the
that dude is yoked.
Yeah,
I mean, like, there aren't players like that. You're like, what in the world? Like, Aaron Aflalo used to be like that in Sacramento. He showed up and it's like, okay, man, like, can you shoot anymore? I don't know what's going on here.
Eric Bledsoe, another guy.
Yeah, Desmond Bane goes to the rim and, like, I swear he flexes as he's dunking on everyone. It's just like, what is happening?
I would.
He's a big dude.
I'd be up there with the bicep dunk.
Kissing the bicep.
That dude is.
Yeah, he is.
Desmond Bane is easily my favorite Grizzly. He's an unbelievable player. He's so good.
I love Steven Adams.
I do too. I love them both.
Yeah, being around Steven Adams, he's just like, his whole personality is just spectacular. Like, it's so authentic, and he just doesn't care. And you know, he's very nice for a guy that's that big. Just a gigantic human being.
I think I don't like Jaw's new persona. I think that's the only thing I don't like.
Yeah, you don't like ponytail Jaw.
Yeah, ponytail Jaw appears to have an attitude.
Yeah, ponytail Jaw. I mean, I get it. Sometimes when when I have my hair up for too long, I get a headache. I get very irritable. It's like sometimes you just gotta let your hair down, you know, and you're just in a better mood.
Literally never seen your hair up before.
Yeah,
except on Instagram, you did like one post workout TikTok once, and that was the only time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like it up. I don't. It hurts my head.
Headache.
Hurts my head. Yeah, I don't really. And the only time I'll do it is either post workout, like in a workout, or if my hair is so dirty, it cannot be possibly down. And that has happened before too. Just the grease level is just so it's just bad.
Tight.
Pause.
Hey, I'm sure this has been addressed, but forgive me. Are you like in the corner of a restaurant, Trysta?
I'm in a
She's
hotel.
about to get glam shots.
I'm in a hotel. It's like a cafe in this hotel called 11 Howard. Awesome. There's a place called the Library. They serve food, but then there's this little back area that's not intrusive to anyone because it's like a library. So people are doing work there. So I don't think they really want this energy for them. So I've gone to the back, which is a little bit more dimly lit, as you can see. And so I'm right underneath a lamp.
Vibes are strong. No, the vibes are strong for sure.
There's lots of photoshops on Twitter waiting for you. You are more than welcome to stay, but if you've got other things to do, you can go too. It's really whatever you like. This is the Trysta Krick time.
I'm just having a good time with you guys. Is there anything else you guys feel like is worth addressing? Oh, wait, really quick, Kyle, because I haven't talked to you about this. I'm really sad for Brock Purdy. I'm sorry that it went down like that. That stinks. It really, that stinks.
Had the same vibe to me, just as a fan of Game 6 of the 2019 Finals.
Yep.
Where the Raptors won. It's just kind of like, well, what are you gonna do? You know, and when guys get hurt, it's hard to win.
Yep.
So
you're like Clay's down, KD's down.
Yeah. And the Raptors were really good too. Like it's not taking away from them. They could have won the series anyways. But that's just how I felt about Sunday. So it sucks. But fingers crossed he's back by camp.
Yeah. Otherwise, you guys are screwed.
We're hitting that use check over next year.
I did not play that, but I was watching for that, and I was like, Kyle cannot give me out any more bets. He's got no credibility left in the bank. His goodwill is at negative. His goodwill for bets is literally negative.
For what it's worth, that was tongue in cheek. The use check over.
Well, you did. I didn't know that. I could have played that, and you didn't say, "Hey, JK," crying. There was no hint of jokes.
The all caps.
Where's Kenny in the middle of trade deadline week? Where's Kenny at?
He's actually out by you. He's in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
He's in Baltimore for a couple.
Orioles fan fest.
Yeah,
I see. Yeah, Orioles media day. I get it.
Got to get the hat.
He's got to get the limited edition Orioles hat. He had to do it in person.
Get a old Trey Mancini jersey on sale.
He'll fly back tomorrow. Yeah, he'll be back with us next week.
Well, I miss you guys. I love you guys. I can't wait. One thing, Ham, what's your one prediction in terms of who surprisingly gets moved and it cannot be Kyrie or KD?
I think OG gets moved.
Do you have a thought about where he goes?
No, I think it's going to be a bidding war, though. I mean, I think, we're seeing that, like, possible Pelicans, possible Grizzlies. I think you'll see Portland try to jump into that fray. If they can come up with the assets. Yeah, he would be the one guy. Just like the vibe there is weird in Toronto, and it feels like things are coming to an end. And his value is really high right now with 2 years left on his contract. And, yeah, that would be the guy that I would think gets moved.
You think that it's Shaedon Sharpe and Jeremy Grant? Is that what that would have to be, and, like, a pick?
I think no, they really like Jeremy Grant. I think they believe he's going to stick around. So I would think you might be right about Shaedon Sharpe, but like maybe can you do that with Simons? I don't know. I think that they would have to get creative. But that's just like Portland's not high. Nurk is out for like until after the All-Star break. So. Yeah. A lot of people just think that it's time for them to call it in. Just like, hey, what are you guys doing?
That's what I think. It's called packing it up. It's you made it
You're ready to do that now?
You made a valiant effort, guys. Like, I'm fine with Dame just going off for 50 on any given night. I do not care about winning games right now. I don't. I just don't. I'm fine with just getting. Why not Scoot Henderson? Get rid of Anthony Simons. You could probably get a little.
Oh,
gone.
Wow.
What'd you?
Oh, she's back.
Oh, she's back. There she is.
Stop talking about her.
What'd you say?
It was mildly terrifying the way it just went black and how your face was really close to the screen when it came back.
That was the start of a horror movie for sure.
It's like dead meat. It's like dead meat. I see dead people.
Saw 8 here with Trysta at this place in New York. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to go ahead and drop pins so you guys know where I'm at. Just in case.
Just
StreamYard is like, this is too much Blazers. Nah. Far too much.
Yeah,
Blazers.
I'm interested to see if Phoenix goes to get OG, like maybe move DeAndre or something.
Well,
Can they trade him now?
Yeah.
Here's a question you can both respond.
December.
Kyle, what are the Warriors? The Warriors like every week or so instill fear in the rest of the Western Conference. And then the next week it's like, not so much.
That's what they are. That's what they are. Last year, this time they were 40-13. And everyone's like, hey, why are you giving up on them? They won the title last year. And Look at it, because they weren't 26 and 26 at the 52
Remember though,
game
Boston was 500 at the deadline.
Yeah, but Boston had good players.
Oh,
But Boston had last year was way deeper than this Warriors team. Like the Warriors are going like 8 deep right now because they just don't have guys. It just
getting
like
ready for the playoffs. Shortened rotation. Just getting ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I love doing that in early February because they like the fact they chased the win last night in Denver and didn't rest everybody, except for Clay, and then Draymond got hurt, but Steph played and Wiggins played on the back end of the back-to-back after blowing a 14-point fourth quarter lead in Minnesota. It was just like, dude, what are we? This is not like okay. So they make the playoffs, fine, but are they going to beat 4 teams 4 times out of 7? I just don't. And I don't know what assets they have that are tradable that anybody's going to want. Like nobody wants James Wiseman.
They burn all those young guys.
Yeah, James Wiseman has no trade value right now. Moses Moody has no trade value right now. Jonathan Kuminga does, but I don't think they want to let him go. So
they only want to get rid of guys who have no trade value.
Right. It's like what we're going to do is we're going to trade our bad players to other teams for the other team's good players. And that's how we're going to build a win. Yeah, they just don't. I don't like. Do they need to make a move? Yeah, I just don't know what it is. I don't see it.
What about you guys trying to go out and get Kyrie Irving?
The Warriors?
Yep.
So actually, my boss Matt Nahigian, God love him, he comes in and he goes, "Hey, so let's think about this from the Warriors' perspective. Like, it's a no, right?" I was like, "Yes," and he's like, "But just basketball wise." And I'm like, yeah, man. Like, they don't need another guy who can score the ball and then not play defense. Like, they just like Jordan Poole for Kyrie Irving straight across. Are the Warriors that much better? I don't think so.
Yes,
I think the way you talk about Kyrie in relationship to the Warriors is if the Lakers got him, they're a game and a half behind the Warriors. What does it mean for the Warriors?
Exactly.
Like that's where you're if you're covering it from that angle, that's a scary proposition.
100%. But then it's like, are they Russ is their only tradable asset there, unless they're going to stack like 9 guys, which they're not. So is Russ going to go play with KD again?
That's what I said.
How does that? It's just oof.
And really bad picks, like really future, like 27, 29, right? That's all they can offer. Yeah, not great.
No.
Yikes.
Good stuff.
Kyrie on Phoenix is concerning. I read OG in New Orleans was a thing too. Those are 2 teams that are both behind Sacramento.
OG in New Orleans would be sick. The Pelicans would be really hard to beat.
They just
have what do they give? Yeah,
that's true.
They just have to like. I mean, they've played without one or the other before. Like, I don't feel that this skid is like massive for them.
Yeah.
They've struggled without one guy. They've never struggled like this.
Yeah.
And Ingram's been back for a handful of games now.
Yeah, no, they need to figure something out. Zion's nowhere to be found, so I don't know what that is about.
James said he was reading something today. He just started to run.
Oh, see, this is like very vintage Zion.
Yeah, they said they're not putting any time for a return on him at all. So, I mean, I don't think he'll be back by the All-Star break. Or maybe he'll be back after the All-Star break, but like it seems like very Zion-ish to come back the day before the All-Star break and then play in the All-Star game and then miss a bunch of time after.
And probably hurt himself, in there.
That's the unfortunate part. Trysta's going to glue herself to the NBA offices in New York to get De'Aaron into the All-Star game.
Yep.
This is always the funnest hour of the week. Kyle Matson, I'm really not sure what Kyle's going to do, if he's going to stay or go, or really what he wants to do. But either way, we've gone for like an hour straight, so we're going to take a commercial break.